So the narrative is that Hillary, the Democrat, is about love and handicapped people and women being equal and equality and caring for people. And we don't care enough and we love everyone. And we're about standing our ground and being really benevolent. And then the anti-Trump sort of stance is that he's about being mean and fear-mongering, and he's tough. And then he would say, well, it's tough but fair, and I'm about austerity, and I'm about paying your own way, and no, you're not. You hate Muslims, and you're about racism, and she's not about racism, and blah, 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 blah. And foreign policy, he has his hands on the nuke. He's going to blow it up. It's all a distraction. The entire election is mommy versus daddy. I know. I wish it wasn't that simple.
I would feel terrible if Donald Trump gets elected, and terrible if Hillary Clinton gets elected. Donald Trump says despicable things, but Hillary Clinton has a terrifying track record. Catastrophic wars, helping destroy the social safety net, creating mass incarceration, and supporting deportations. The answer to Donald Trump is a revolutionary agenda that will end the economic misery. A Green New Deal will create 20 million jobs, halt climate change, and make wars for oil obsolete. We can cancel student debt, make healthcare and college free, create a welcoming path to citizenship, and end systemic racism. It's time to reject the lesser evil and fight for the greater good, like our lives depend on it. I'm Dr. Jill Stein. I
want to get you out of here on this one today. The breaking news, there is a new candidate in the race. 40-year-old Evan
Look
McMullin.
how much African-American communities have suffered under Democratic control. To those I say the following. What do you have to lose by trying something new like Trump? What do you have to lose? I say it again, what do you have to lose? Look, what do you have to lose? You're living in poverty, your schools are no good, you have no jobs, 58% of your youth is unemployed. What the hell do you have to lose? America must reject the bigotry of Hillary Clinton, who sees communities of color only as votes, not as human beings worthy of a better future.
These are racist ideas, race-baiting ideas, anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, anti-women, all key tenets making up the emerging racist ideology known as the alt-right. Now, alt-right is short for alternative
You are being
right.
indoctrinated right now to support Hillary Clinton, and the majority of you don't even know it. If you happen to be a young woman who loves celebrities, beauty gurus, and pop culture, please pay attention to this. Put down the Snapchat, put away the dog filter and the flower crown, ignore the highlighter tutorials, and stop texting Chad. Because if you're tired of people not respecting you, if you're tired of being called basic or not having your political opinions listened to, then it's time to start thinking about how you came to those political opinions. Over this election, we've been seeing major figures come out in support of either Trump or Clinton. When it comes to celebrities and vanity stars, Hillary Clinton really has a monopoly on their support, though. It's cool, hip, and fashionable to say, I'm with her, and is no detriment to one's media career if you say it. And a lot of their reasons for voting for Hillary consist of vote vagina 2016 or oh snap bitch, you can't mess with a strong woman, we run the world. Ladies, if you want real empowerment and respect, stop being manipulated by the political elite who think you're stupid enough to vote for them over a selfie. Make up
Hillary began reading out headlines written by Milo Yiannopoulos.
Hello.
Birth control makes women unattractive and crazy.
Nobody wants to fuck you.
Would you rather your child had feminism or cancer? The emerging racist ideology known as the alt-right.
So posting dank memes makes you an evil racist.
Farage, who stoked anti-immigrant sentiments to win the referendum, to have Britain leave the European Union, campaigned with Donald Trump in Mississippi.
Yeah, the key word there, Hillary, is win. He won because the tactic of constantly calling him a racist failed, just like your speech.
Her first national security briefing, but that comes with now mounting questions tonight about her family's Clinton Foundation. An ABC News exclusive, new emails show big donors hoping for big favors while she was Secretary of State. ABC's Devin Dwyer has more.
Hillary Clinton entering an FBI office in New York today, no aides by her side, for her first national security briefing as presidential candidate. A top secret sit down that lasted more than 2 hours. The meeting comes as Clinton now faces new questions about the Clinton Foundation and whether top donors received special treatment while she was Secretary of State. ABC News has obtained these emails between then top foundation official Doug Band and Clinton's inner circle, documents obtained as part of a lawsuit by the conservative group Citizens United. In one exchange, a request from the foundation for invitations to a state lunch with the Chinese president. On the list, executives from 3 groups that donated millions to the foundation. That foundation official also requesting that one of the guests be seated at Vice President Biden's table. Clinton top aide Huma Abedin replying, "I'll ask." In another exchange, Abedin is asked to pass on a message to the ambassador to Malta on behalf of a great friend and big supporter of the Clinton Foundation. That big supporter donated more than $1 million. Abedin passes on the message, also writing, "No need for action." Donald Trump has been pouncing.
It's hard to tell where the Clinton Foundation ends and where the State Department begins.
Both the Clinton Foundation and the State Department deny donors got any special favors or influence.
My work as Secretary of State was not influenced by any outside forces.
Tonight, the State Department tells ABC News it is not inappropriate to consider suggestions from outside groups. The Clinton Foundation says these emails work. Cecilia?
Anthony Weiner caught in yet another sexting scandal. The disgraced former congressman, husband to longtime and powerful Hillary Clinton advisor Huma Abedin, humiliated once again, this time on the front page of the New York Post. And this time, it's not just a lurid photo of Weiner on the front page. The selfie he sent to a woman, not his wife, shows him in his underwear, this time with his child beside him. The Post reporting the picture was sent by a 40-something divorcee out west in the midst of a sexual conversation with the caption, "Someone just climbed into my bed." Weiner and the woman exchanged messages going back to January of last year. The disturbing image seized upon by Donald Trump, who used it to continue questioning Hillary Clinton's judgment, saying, "I only worry for the country in that Hillary Clinton was careless and negligent in allowing Weiner to have such close proximity to highly classified information. Who knows what he learned and who he told? It's just another example of Hillary Clinton's bad judgment. It is possible that our country and its security have been greatly compromised by this." For some, the story about the husband of the current vice chair of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign and previously her chief of staff at the State Department is a potential question of national security. For others, just a cheap tabloid story. But for Huma Abedin, it was apparently the last straw. In a statement, Abedin said, "I have made the decision to separate from my husband. Anthony and I remain devoted to doing what is best for our son, who is the light of our life." She also asked for privacy. In 2013, during a comeback effort as he ran for mayor, Weiner was caught for a second time sexting with women under the alias Carlos Danger. Abedin defended him before the cameras.
So really what I want to say is I love him, I have forgiven him, I believe in him, and as we have said from the beginning, we are moving forward.
But today, separated, their marriage dissolving even before the public announcement, a close friend telling CNN that the couple has been separated for months and recently she hadn't even been wearing her wedding ring.
Thanks, guys.
Anthony Weiner resigned from Congress in 2011 after accidentally tweeting to the entire world a sexually explicit photo intended to be a direct message to a 21-year-old woman. After days of denials and mounting pressure to resign, he finally fessed up.
To be clear, the picture was of me, and I sent it.
This morning, after another humiliating round of sexting went public, Weiner finally deleted his Twitter account.
To be great again. Every aspect has to be great, including our inner cities.
And we just saw Mr. Trump here. I asked him, how did it go? And he said, great. And he said he learned a lot of things. What do you think he took away from today?
My luggage. Hold on.
Okay. Looks like Dr. Carson is going to try and find his luggage, and he'll be right back with us.
I've been talking so. Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic. Boy, we have 63 days to go. Well, thank you. Whoa. Well, you just heard the next vice president, didn't you? In addition to thanking Marcia Fudge, let me also thank your great Senator Sherrod Brown. Also, excuse me. Also, two other great members of Congress, Tim Ryan and Joyce Beatty. And your mayor, thanks to Mayor Jackson. And I hope that Ohio will send Ted Strickland to the Senate. Now, behind me are some of the great labor leaders of our country. Randy Weingarten, Lee Saunders, Rich Trumka. I'm proud to be on the same stage with them because they're always fighting for working families. Now, once I get over my allergic reaction, let me say that we're here in part because we know how important this election is to Ohio. It's not just...
He doesn't particularly care whether Putin and the intelligence services attack American institutions. So, get some water. Yep. Thank you. Thanks. Excuse me. I'll be right back.
Well, Maroon, you're up.
Hey. We're going to land and then she'll come back again, okay? Okay.
Nightly news will not be stay here. Not right now.
Sit on my lap because I want to ask a question. What? Everyone else is okay with that, but I'm gonna try and get
But we can feed out what Paul shoots right now live. Once we land, we can shoot out. We can feed that out live.
Am I still rolling?
Yeah, it's up here.
Hang on, am I still rolling?
I guess not.
One thing you know from my doctor's letter is I have seasonal allergies. So, yes. And we went back and looked. I had the same problem last Labor Day. I keep thinking that, I'm going to avoid it, but I want to go back to your question, Annie. Yes.
But I'm not sure. Yes, that Trump is trying to give the election. I mean, Russia's trying to give the election.
Well, I'm not going to jump to it.
I would like to thank my husband Fred for letting me come today. I love to say that because it irritates the women's livers more than anything that I say.
She said, "You've got a good deal, women. You are an exalted member of the human race. You are held to a higher standard. You're put on a pedestal. You're protected by men. You're provided for by men. Why would you want to give that up?"
The Women's Studies Department, it was 25 years ago that we defeated the Equal Rights Amendment, and they're still whining about it. And I think they should get a life and move on.
What would you do if you were elected about Aleppo?
About
Aleppo.
And what is Aleppo?
You're kidding.
No.
Aleppo is in Syria. It's the epicenter of the refugee crisis.
Okay, got it.
Donald Trump is gushing again over Vladimir Putin.
If he says great things about me, I'm going to say great things about him.
To just be grossly generalistic, you could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. Right? The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic.
Hillary Clinton was among the numerous dignitaries who gathered at the Memorial Plaza for the ceremony today, marking 15 years since 9/11. But she left well before the others, more than 3 hours before the ceremony was scheduled to end. And we were the first to report it here this morning after I was told by a law enforcement source that she appeared to be have a medical issue and had to be taken out of the Ground Zero area. And in fact, now there is video that backs up the account that I was given by a law enforcement source who was very close to the presidential candidate, some 15 feet away, when she was standing on the curb waiting for her van, and you can see her unsteady on her feet. Her knees appear to buckle as she steps off the curb, and twice it appears that the people around her, her protective detail, had to help her into that van, which then took off. My source told me, and apparently you can see on the video as well, one of her shoes actually came off when she stumbled off the curb, and that shoe wound up underneath the van. Someone else grabbed it, gave it to others in her detail so that they could give it to her when she went to her daughter Chelsea's apartment, where about an hour ago she emerged waving, smiling at people, telling her she was just fine and what a beautiful day it was in New York. It was muggy and warm here this morning, but now it is, in fact,
Speaking to wealthy donors, Hillary Clinton called tens of millions of Americans deplorable.
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
People like you, deplorable. You know what's deplorable? Hillary Clinton viciously demonizing hard-working people like you.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Terror across the 2 states, including 2 bombings and the discovery of several unexploded devices. It started at 9:30 a.m. on Saturday in the beach town of Seaside Park, New Jersey, when a pipe bomb exploded in a garbage can near the starting line. Then that night, panic on the streets of New York City. A bomb built from a pressure cooker explodes. It detonated at approximately 8:30 p.m. on 23rd Street and 6th Avenue, injuring 29 and sending panicked crowds scrambling for cover.
I don't know what hit me right there. I flew off my feet.
Police scramble, searching the area, and find another suspicious-looking pressure cooker located just several blocks away on 27th Street. Both devices were packed with ball bearings, commonly used in bombs to maximize damage. Investigators say surveillance footage shows a man they believe to be Rahami with a duffel bag at both Manhattan locations. He leaves the bag at the location where police later find the unexploded pressure cooker.
A multi-state manhunt is launched for Rahami after he's identified by a fingerprint left on a cell phone in one of the explosive devices. At 9:30 p.m. on Sunday, a backpack containing up to 5 pipe bombs is found in a garbage can outside a neighborhood pub and about 500 feet from a train trestle. One of the bombs detonated when police sent a robot in to examine the devices after 2 men had alerted them.
There's plenty of room up front. Oh, thank you. You're a lifesaver. Thank you. Hey, you're driving?
Yeah, I'm in between jobs right now. You know you can make $12 an hour driving for Uber?
I did not know that, but that's great. I have to get downtown to the Emmys.
Are you nominated?
I am, yeah.
Wow. What's that like?
It's nice. It's nice.
You think you can win?
Well, there's a lot of competition and probably not.
Well, here's what I know. If you run a positive campaign, the voters ultimately will make the right choice.
You know, it's funny you say that. My psychic...
Jimmy, that was a joke. Get out of the car. And shave that wig off your face, you godless Hollywood hippie. Jeb exclamation point.
And listen, I've tried to support Donald Trump when I think he's right and criticize him when I think it's fair. But the consistent pattern of not only Donald Trump, but the Republican platform of less gun control, of less taxation, of less control over the economy is not indicative of a fascist who wants to take over your individual lives. But Hillary Clinton?
Correct. To raise a child
On
is
Tuesday,
their right.
November 8th, this country will make one of the most important decisions in its history.
You have an obligation
To be a part of that decision.
You might think it's not important. You might think you're not important.
But that's not true. And the only way we can prove that to you is by having lots of famous people.
Lots of famous people.
Lots and lots of famous people.
Just a shit ton of famous people.
Repeating how important.
Important.
How important it is.
Register.
Register.
Vote.
There's so many famous people.
Some of us aren't as famous, but still pretty famous. Like, you've seen us somewhere.
Sometimes a not famous person will be mixed in with the famous ones
They drive the message home.
because of their unpolished sincerity.
Their unpolished sincerity.
But you only get this many famous people together if the issue's
One that truly matters to all of us. A disease or
ecological crisis or
a racist, abusive coward who could permanently damage the fabric of our society.
Do the math. Do we really want to give nuclear weapons to a man whose signature move is firing?
firing things?
But we can end this nightmare before it begins.
We can save the day.
For our children.
For our children.
For our children.
For our communities.
For our communities. For our communities.
For America.
For America.
For America.
All it takes is all of us.
All of us.
All of us.
We cannot pretend both sides are equally unfavorable.
We can't say one vote doesn't matter. Your vote matters. Your vote matters. It affects everything. Not just the presidency, but the Senate, The House.
Your local officials.
Immigration.
Student debt. Common sense gun laws.
The Supreme Court.
See, this isn't just an election, it's a tipping point.
For the country.
For the world.
For your world. If you don't know how or where to register,
Go to SaveTheDay.vote.
SaveTheDay.vote.
Make yourself heard.
Tell the world that you care about what happens to it.
And if you do vote,
And help protect this country from fear and ignorance.
Mark will do a nude scene in his next movie.
Mark Ruffalo will do a nude scene in his next movie.
Wait, what? Mark will do a nude scene.
Mark's gonna have his dick out.
Full Monty. Full Marky.
No. Go to SaveTheDay.vote. When nobody talked about.
Save the day.
Make Mark be naked.
By making your mark on November 8th.
They should just vote because it matters, you know? Don't you think?
We're all in this together. That's why the most popular or memorable actor is the last one you see.
Really?
Yeah.
Anthony Weiner's alleged teen sexting scandal now getting the attention of federal prosecutors. A subpoena just issued for the former congressman's cell phone records.
This is a game changer for the embattled former congressman. A huge development New York Governor Andrew Cuomo spoke about just yesterday, saying if true, if Weiner was carrying on a sexting affair with a 15-year-old girl, quote, it's possibly criminal and it's sick. We now know federal authorities have issued that subpoena for Weiner's cell phone and other records. The probe, it's all very preliminary, centering around what the online publication The Daily Mail reported yesterday. In a lengthy article, including an interview with the teenage girl, the underage high school student claims she engaged in a texting and Skyping relationship with Weiner. She claims it all started last January and carried on through late April. The young girl says the affair began before Weiner's wife, Huma Abedin, a top aide to Hillary Clinton, announced she was leaving her husband. Weiner told the Daily Mail he believes he was the target of a hoax, but federal authorities clearly feel there is enough evidence to move forward with this investigation. Now, the teenage girl in the Daily Mail says she didn't want to press charges against Weiner because she believed the relationship was consensual. As for the NYPD local authorities, it says it has no complaint against Weiner at this point. We first reported this story in the ABC7 News app. We'll be sure to bring any developments to you, push out more developments on the case, and we'll have much more coming up.
Every critic, every detractor will have to bow down to President Trump. It's everyone who's ever doubted Donald, whoever disagreed, whoever challenged him. It is the ultimate revenge to become the most powerful man in the universe.
Want to bring in ABC News political analyst Matthew Dowd joining us from Austin, Texas this morning. Hi, Matthew. So apparently hell froze over and Ted Cruz endorsed Donald Trump. Is it really going to matter in the end?
Good morning. I actually think it doesn't help Donald Trump at all. It's not going to contribute anything in the course of this campaign. But I actually think it hurts Ted Cruz in his future ambitions. One, to get reelected U.S. Senator here in Texas, but two, running, if he wants and Donald Trump loses, run for president in 2020. I don't think it helps him because it makes him look cravenly opportunistic and unprincipled.
Do you think
it doesn't help
if you were able to get on the debate stage that you could pull even with Trump and Clinton in these polls?
I do. And it wouldn't have anything to do with my debate performance either. It would just be that people would recognize that there's another choice and that there would be an examination of me and Bill Weld as who we are and what we've done, and not based on that. I think I could stand up there for the whole debate and not say anything and emerge as a leader.
From NBC News. Decision 2016, the first presidential debate. Live from Hofstra University in Hempstead, New York.
We'll invite you to applaud, however, at this moment as we welcome the candidates. Democratic nominee for President of the United States, Hillary Clinton, and Republican nominee for President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Good luck to you. Mr. Trump, good luck to you. Beginning with you, Secretary Clinton, why are you a better choice than your opponent?
And the kind of plan that Donald has put forth would be trickle-down economics all over again. In fact, it would be the most extreme version, the biggest tax cuts for the top percent of the people in this country than we've ever had. I call it trumped up trickle-down.
In all fairness to Secretary Clinton, yes? Is that okay? Good. I want you to be very happy. And once you say you're going to have to tax them coming in, and our politicians never do this because they have special interests, and the special interests want those companies to leave because in many cases they own the companies.
He said back in 2006, gee, I hope it does collapse because then I can go in and buy some and make some money. Well, it did collapse.
That's called business, by the way.
9 million people.
And Hillary, I just ask you this. You've been doing this for 30 years. Why are you just thinking about these solutions right now? For 30 years you've been doing it, and now you're just starting to think of solutions.
And to get exports that help to create more new jobs.
Well, you haven't done it in 30 years or 26 years.
Well,
any number you
I've
want
been
to
a
do.
senator,
You
Donald,
haven't done it.
and
You haven't
I
done
have
it.
been a
And excuse
Secretary
me,
of State, and I have
Your
done
husband signed
a lot.
NAFTA, which was one of the worst things that ever happened
Well,
to the
that's your
manufacturing
opinion.
industry.
That is your
You go to
opinion.
New England, you go to Ohio, Pennsylvania, you go anywhere you want, Secretary Clinton, and you will see devastation where manufacturing is down 30, 40, sometimes 50%. NAFTA is the worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, but certainly ever signed in this country. And now you want to approve Trans-Pacific Partnership. You were totally in favor of it. Then you heard what I was saying, how bad it is, and you said, I can't win that debate. But you know that if you did win, you would approve that, and that will be almost as bad as NAFTA. Nothing will ever top NAFTA.
That is just not accurate. I was against it once it was finally negotiated and the terms were laid out. I wrote about that in...
You called it the gold standard.
Well, I hope...
You called it the gold standard of trade deals. You said it's the finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
And then you heard what I said about it, and all of a sudden you were against it.
Well, Donald, I know you live in your own reality, but that is not the facts. The facts are, I did say I hoped it would be a good deal, but when it was negotiated, which I was not responsible for, I concluded it wasn't. I wrote about that.
So is it President Obama's fault? Is it President Obama's fault?
Even announced. Look, there are
Secretary, is it President Obama's fault?
There are
because he's pushing it.
There are different views about what's good for our country. In fact,
you
I
have
have
no
written
plan.
a book about it. It's called Stronger Together. You can pick it up
That's
tomorrow.
about all you
Folks, we're gonna...
You are going to drive business out. Your regulations are a disaster, and you're going to increase regulations all over the place. And by the way, my tax cut is the biggest since Ronald Reagan. I'm very proud of it.
Get you to pause right there because we're going to move into the next segment. We're going to talk taxes.
That can't be left
Please
to
just
stand.
take 30 seconds.
I kind of assumed that
she's telling us how to fight ISIS. Just go to her website. She tells you how to fight ISIS on her website. I don't think General Douglas MacArthur would like that too much.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not?
Mr. Trump,
typical politician. All talk, no action, sounds good, doesn't work, never going to happen. Our country is suffering because people like Secretary Clinton. I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted. As soon as she releases them, I will release my tax returns.
I made a mistake using a private email.
That's for sure.
And you wouldn't pay what the man needed to be paid, what he was charging you.
Maybe he didn't do a good job, and I was unsatisfied with his work, which our country should do too.
Would try to negotiate down the national debt of the United States.
It's all words. It's all sound bites. I built an unbelievable company. I do want to bring up the fact that you were the one that brought up the word super predator about young black youth. And that's a term that I think was it's been horribly met, as you know. I think you've apologized for it. But I think it was a terrible thing to say.
Under the current mayor, crime has continued to drop, including murders. So there is...
You're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Murders are up. All right, you'll check.
New York has done an excellent job, and I give credit.
The African-American community has been let down by our politicians. They talk good around election time, like right now, and after the election, they said, see you later, I'll see you in 4 years. The African-American community, look, the community within the inner cities has been so badly treated. They've been abused and used in order to get votes by Democrat politicians, because that's what it is. They've controlled these communities for up to 100 years.
Mr. Trump,
unbroken. And I will tell you, you look at the inner cities, and I just left Detroit, and I just left Philadelphia, and you've seen me. I've been all over the place. You decided to stay home, and that's okay. But I will tell you, I've been all over, and I've met some of the greatest people I'll ever meet within these communities, and they are very, very upset with what their politicians have told them and what their politicians have done.
Mr. Trump,
I think Donald just criticized me for preparing for this debate. And yes, I did. And you know what else I prepared for? I prepared to be president, and I think that's a good thing. So he has a long record of engaging in racist behavior.
You were after him. You were trying to. You even sent out, or your campaign sent out, pictures of him in a certain garb. Very famous pictures. I don't think you can deny that. I don't think anybody knows it was Russia that broke into the DNC. She's saying Russia, 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 but I don't. Maybe it was. I mean, it could be Russia, but it could also be China. It could also be lots of other people. It also could be somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds, okay? You don't know who broke in to DNC. But what did we learn with DNC? We learned that Bernie Sanders was taken advantage of by your people, by Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Look what happened to her. But Bernie Sanders was taken advantage of. That's what we learned. Now, the AFL-CIO the other day, behind the blue screen, I don't know who you were talking to, Secretary Clinton, but you were totally out of control. I said, there's a person with a temperament that's got a problem.
In the waters off of Iran, and they were taunting American sailors who were on a nearby ship. He said, you know, if they taunted our sailors, I'd blow them out of the water and start another war. That would not good judgment. So a man who can be provoked by a tweet should not have his fingers anywhere near the nuclear codes, as far as I think anyone with any sense about this should be concerned.
That line's getting a little bit old, I must say. Listen,
it's a good one, though.
I would like to,
well describes the problem.
It's not an accurate one at all. I don't believe she does have the stamina. To be president of this country, you need tremendous stamina.
The quote was,
you
I just don't think she has
wait a minute, let's
presidential
ask me a question.
Spends 11 hours testifying in front of a congressional committee. He can talk to me about stamina.
The world, let me tell you, Hillary has experience, but it's bad experience. She's got experience, but it's bad experience. And this country can't afford to have another 4 years of that kind of experience.
We are at the...
He called this woman Miss Piggy. Then he called her Miss Housekeeping because she was Latina.
Are you willing to accept the outcome as the will of the voters? Secretary Clinton?
Well, I support our democracy. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But I certainly will support the outcome of this election.
If she wins, I will absolutely support her.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us. That concludes our debate
Stein
for
and
this
Libertarian
evening.
presidential candidate Gary Johnson were excluded from last night's debate at Hofstra University under stringent rules set by the Commission on Presidential Debates, which is controlled by the Democratic and Republican parties. Well, on Monday afternoon, Dr. Stein was escorted off the campus by Hofstra Security and Nassau County Police as she attempted to do an interview, among other networks,
Who's
with
your favorite foreign
MSNBC.
leader?
Who's my favorite?
Just name anywhere in the country, any one of the continents, any country. Name one foreign leader that you respect and look up to. Anybody.
Mine was Shimon Peres.
No, okay, I'm talking about living. Go ahead. You got to do this. Anywhere, any continent. Canada, Mexico, Europe over there, Asia, South America, Africa. Name a foreign leader that you respect.
I guess I'm having an Aleppo moment in the former president
But I'm giving
of Mexico.
you the whole world.
I know.
Anybody in the world you like. Anybody. Pick any leader.
The former president of Mexico.
Which one?
I'm having a brain.
Well, name anybody.
Fox, Zedillo.
Okay, who's your favorite foreign leader? Get him off the hook. Name a foreign leader you respect.
He was terrific.
Any foreign leader?
Merkel.
Okay, Merkel. Okay, fine. Save yourself. Can't argue with that. Anyway, let's go. Who's your favorite president in history? Favorite Libertarian?
Jefferson.
Okay, so you
first libertarian.
So what do you think of the Democrats getting rid of their Jefferson-Jackson Day dinner because they didn't like Jefferson because he had, well, slaves?
Well, the Constitution did have flaws in that it was signed by a bunch of...
So you wouldn't get rid of the J.J. dinners if you're a Democrat, would you?
I wouldn't.
Okay, what about...
We're Jeffersonian liberals. We love Jefferson.
Okay, who's your favorite Supreme Court justice? There are 8 of them.
Yeah, no. Current...
Yeah, right now. 2016. Favorite judge, favorite justice?
I'd say maybe Kennedy.
Anthony Kennedy. Yeah. You?
Kennedy.
The most important job any woman can have is being a mother. I'm Ivanka Trump, a mother, a wife, and an entrepreneur. Donald Trump understands the needs of a modern workforce. My father will change outdated labor laws so that they support women and American families. He will provide tax credits for childcare, paid maternity leave, and dependent care savings accounts. This will allow women to support their families and further their careers.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Good evening from Longwood University in Farmville, Virginia, and welcome to the first and only vice presidential debate of 2016. And right now, as we welcome Governor Mike Pence and Senator Tim Kaine.
Thank you. An honor. Great to meet you. Thank you.
The newly emboldened the aggression of Russia, whether it was in Ukraine or now their heavy-handed approach.
You both
their heavy-handed approach.
You both have said Vladimir Putin is a better
Gentlemen, we're going to get to Russia
president.
in just a moment.
He's employed tens of thousands of people in this country
and paid
built
few taxes and lost $1 billion a year.
And she had a Clinton Foundation accepting contributions from foreign governments.
You are Donald Trump's apprentice. Let me talk about this
Senator,
issue
I think I'm still on my time.
Well, I think isn't this a discussion? Negotiation with nations around the world to eliminate the Iranian nuclear weapons program without firing a shot.
Eliminate the Iranian nuclear weapons
absolutely,
program.
without.
Even former President Bill Clinton calls Obamacare a crazy plan. But Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine want to build on Obamacare, which Hillary Clinton and Senator Kaine want to continue, have run this economy into a ditch. We're in the slowest economic recovery since the Great.
Improved dramatically between 2014 and 2015.
Honestly, Senator, you can roll out the numbers and the sunny side, but I got to tell you, people in Scranton, no different. But he used the tax code just the way it's supposed to be used, and he did it brilliantly.
How do you know that? You haven't seen
his tax runway because he's created a business that's worth billions of dollars today.
How do you know that?
And with Senator,
all right,
he's going to release his tax returns when the audit
Social Security.
is over.
Richard Nixon released tax returns when he was under audit.
They're going to raise your taxes.
Gentlemen,
if you can't meet the Nixon standard,
the people at home cannot understand either one of you when you speak over each other.
Okay. All Donald Trump and I have said about Social Security is we're going to meet our obligations to our seniors. That's it.
Go read the book.
We've said we're going to meet the obligations of Medicare. But I have to tell you, I was listening to the avalanche of insults coming out of Senator Kaine a minute ago.
These were Donald.
He says,
hold on a second.
It's my time, Senator.
It is, in fact, the governor's time.
I apologize. This is your 2 minutes.
Thanks. I forgive you. She said she shouldn't have said half.
Governor, this is Senator Kaine's 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, that's right. So now we're even.
Yeah.
Look.
Of the United States.
So you like the $16 million deportation plan?
Senator, that's nonsense.
He's got kind of a personal Mount Rushmore. Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, Muammar Gaddafi, and Saddam Hussein.
Did you work on that one a long time? Because that had a lot of really creative lines in it. $150 billion
stopping
to the radical
weapons
mullahs
program
in
without
Iran.
firing a shot.
You didn't stop the nuclear weapons
yes, we
program.
Did.
You've got to err on the side of the safety and security of the American people, Senator. I understand
by trashing all
the
Syrians
UN
or
wants
trashing
us
all
to
Muslims.
expand the
Senator
Syrian
Kaine, let me
refugee
ask you
program.
this. Secretary
We're
Clinton
put the
has
safety and
talked
security of the
about
American people
an
first.
intelligence surge.
Senator, if your son or my son handled classified information the way Hillary Clinton did, they'd be court-martialed.
That is absolutely false, and you know that.
Absolutely
and you know
true.
that, Governor.
Governor.
It's absolutely true.
Because the
Gentlemen,
FBI did an investigation.
Gentlemen.
And they concluded that there was no reasonable prosecutor who would take it further.
Senator Kaine, Governor Pence, please.
Donald Trump supports our veterans.
He won't pay taxes.
Donald Trump has paid all the taxes that he's. Do you not take deductions?
Gentlemen, this
How
is
does that work?
about.
He said the problem with nuclear proliferation is that some fool or maniac could trigger a catastrophic event. And I think that's who Governor Pence's running mate is, exactly who President Reagan warned us about.
Senator, that was even beneath you and Hillary Clinton, and that's pretty low. That we would only lift the sanctions if Iran permanently renounced their nuclear ambitions.
Let me just mention
they have not. Elaine, let me finish a sentence. They have not renounced their nuclear ambitions.
If Donald Trump would be willing to release his tax returns, as he told the American public that he would do. And I know he's laughing at this, but every president.
What's it got to do with Russia?
Every president since Richard Nixon has done it and work around the world and won't share with the American public what he's doing and what those conflicts are.
Governor, I will give you 30 seconds to respond because I know you want to. But again, I would remind you both this was about North Korea.
Well, he is showing you who he is.
Senator, you whipped out that Mexican thing again.
This concludes the vice presidential debate. My thanks to the candidates, the commission, and to you for watching.
Hi, this is Ted Cruz calling.
was calling to encourage you to come out and vote on Election Day. This election is critical for the direction of our country, and I urge you to come out and support freedom and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. You can vote by absentee ballot, and if you need help getting an application for an absentee ballot, the Republican Party of Texas can help you with that. Or you can vote in person, but I just wanted to encourage you to come out and vote. Thank you, and God bless you.
She's still very beautiful. I moved on her, actually. You know, she was down in Palm Beach. I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and fuck her. She was married.
That's huge news there.
No, Nancy.
Yeah.
No, this was marriages. And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there. And she was married. Then all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
Your girl's hot as shit. In the purple.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes, the Donald has scored.
Whoa.
Oh, my man. Wait, you got to look at me when you get out of your legs. Set this up.
That is very
You give me the thumbs
Look
up.
at you. You are a
You got to put the thumbs up. You got to get the thumbs up. Can't be too happy. Else off first? Yeah, let me.
It's very fun. Maybe it's a different one.
Better not be the publicist. No, it's her.
Yeah, that's her, with the gold. I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
Look at those legs. All I can see is the legs.
No, it looks good.
Come on, shorty.
Oh, nice legs, huh?
Oof, get out of the way, honey. Oh, that's good legs. Go ahead.
It's always good if you don't fall out of the bus. Like Ford, Gerald Ford, remember?
Down below. Pull the handle.
Hello, how are you? Hi.
Mr. Trump, how
nice
are you?
seeing you.
Pleasure to
Terrific.
meet you.
Terrific. You know Billy Bush?
How are you?
Nice to see you. How you doing,
Very
Ariane?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Are you ready to be a soap star?
We're ready. Let's go. Make me a soap star.
How about a little hug for the Donald? He just got off the
Would
bus.
you like a little hug,
Okay,
darling?
absolutely. Melania
little
said
hug
this
for the
was
bushy.
okay.
I just got off the bus.
Oh, bushy.
There we go. Excellent. Well,
Come
you've
on.
got a nice co-star here.
Good.
Yes, absolutely.
After you. Come on, Billy. Don't be shy.
As soon as a beautiful woman shows up, he takes
Get over
off
here,
on
Billy.
He's always happy.
I'm sorry, come here.
Let the little guy in there. Come
Yeah,
on.
let the little guy in. How you feel now? Better? I should actually.
It's
be
hard to
in the
walk next to a guy
middle.
like
Here, wait,
this.
hold on.
Yeah, you get in the middle. There we go.
Good. That's
This
better.
is much better. This is.
That's better.
Now, if you had to choose, honestly, between one of us, me or the Donald, who
I
would it
don't
be?
know. That's
That's
tough
some pressure right
competition.
there.
Yeah.
Seriously, when you had to take one of us as a date.
I have to take a fifth on that one.
Really?
Yep. I'll take both.
Which way?
Make it right. Here we go. Goodbye. Right of the days.
Here he goes. I'm going to leave you here.
Okay.
Get my microphone.
Okay. You gonna? Oh, you're finished?
You're my man. Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm going to go do our show.
Oh, you want to reset? Okay.
On Friday, WikiLeaks posted over 2,000 emails from Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta. According to the Post, the emails go back as far as 2007 and as early as March of this year. Previously, Podesta served as chief of staff to President Bill Clinton from 1998 until 2001. He is the chair of the Center for American Progress, a Washington, D.C. based think tank. Podesta also founded a lobbying firm with his brother.
Candidates will have 2 minutes to answer each audience and online question. We hope to get to as many questions as we can, so we've asked the audience here not to slow things down with any applause, except for now. Ladies and gentlemen, the Republican nominee for President, Donald J. Trump, and the Democratic nominee for President, Hillary Clinton.
You bragged that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I apologize to my family. I apologize to the American people.
So this is who Donald Trump is. And the question for us, the question our country must answer, is that this is not who we are.
It's just words, folks. It's just words. Those words, I've been hearing them for many years. If you look at Bill Clinton, far worse. Mine are words, and his was action. His was what he's done to women. There's never been anybody in the history of politics in this nation that's been so abusive to women. So you can say any way you want to say it, but Bill Clinton was abusive to women. Hillary Clinton attacked those same women and attacked them viciously. 4 of them here tonight. One of the women, who is a wonderful woman, at 12 years old, was raped at 12. Her client, she represented, got him off, and she's seen laughing on 2 separate occasions, laughing at the girl who was raped. And she talks about words that I said 11 years ago. I think it's disgraceful, and I think she should be ashamed of herself, if you want to know the truth.
And he needs to take responsibility for his actions and his words.
Well, you owe the president an apology because, as you know very well, your campaign, Sidney Blumenthal, he's another real winner that you have. A race where you lost, fair and square, unlike the Bernie Sanders race where you won, but not fair and square, in my opinion. And all you have to do is take a look at WikiLeaks and just see what they said about Bernie Sanders and see what Deborah Wasserman Schultz had in mind. Because Bernie Sanders, between superdelegates and Deborah Wasserman Schultz, he never had a chance. And I am going to instruct my Attorney General to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
And as I said, there is no evidence that any classified information ended up in the wrong hands.
Okay, we're going to move on.
And yet, she didn't know the letter C on a document, right? She didn't even know what that letter meant.
Okay, Donald, I know you're into big diversion tonight, anything to avoid talking about your campaign and the way it's exploding and the way Republicans are leaving you. But let's at least focus on some of the issues that people care about tonight.
That first one goes to Secretary Clinton because you started out the last one to the audience.
If he wants to start, he can start. No, go ahead, Donald.
No, I'm a gentleman, Hillary. Go ahead.
Secretary Clinton? Secretary Clinton, let me follow up with you. Your husband called Obamacare, quote, the craziest thing in the world, saying that small business owners are getting killed as premiums double, coverage is cut in half. Was he mistaken, or was his mistake simply telling the truth?
No, I mean, he clarified what he meant, and it's very clear. Look.
Bernie Sanders said that Hillary Clinton has very bad judgment. This is a perfect example of it, trying to save Obamacare, which is...
You've said you want to end...
And you voted for it, and you shouldn't have. Well, I just want to
There's been lots of fact-checking on that. I'd like to move on to an online question.
She just went about 25 seconds over her time. Could I just respond to this, please?
Very quickly, please. One line in particular in which you, Secretary Clinton, purportedly say you need both a public and private position on certain issues. So, 2 from Virginia asks, is it okay for politicians to be two-faced? Is it acceptable for a politician to have a private stance on issues? Secretary Clinton, well, your 2 minutes.
Right. As I recall, that was something I said about Abraham Lincoln after having seen the wonderful Steven Spielberg movie called Lincoln.
Her papers went out to all her friends at the banks, Goldman Sachs and everybody else, and she said things, WikiLeaks, that just came out. And she lied. Now she's blaming the lie on the late, great Abraham Lincoln. That's one that I haven't. Okay, Honest Abe. Honest Abe never lied. That's the good thing. That's the big difference between Abraham Lincoln and you.
Did you use that $916 million loss to avoid paying personal federal income taxes?
Of course I do. Of course I do. And so do all of her donors, or most of her donors. I know many of her donors. Her donors took massive tax write-offs. She talks about health care. Why didn't she do something about it? She talks about taxes. Why didn't she do something about it? She doesn't do anything about anything other than talk. With her, it's all talk and no action, which...
No, I wasn't. I was gone. I hate to interrupt you, but
you were in contact, excuse me.
At some point, we need to do some
You were in total contact with the White House. And perhaps, sadly, Obama probably still listened to you. I don't think he'd be listening very much anymore. She talks in favor of the rebels. She doesn't even know who the rebels are. You know, every time we take rebels, whether it's in Iraq or anywhere else, we're arming people. And you know what happens? They end up being worse than the people. Look at what she did in Libya with Gaddafi.
Your 2 minutes is up.
I don't like Assad at all, but Assad is killing ISIS. Russia is killing ISIS, and Iran is killing ISIS.
Said that half of Donald Trump's supporters are, quote, deplorables, racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic. You later said you regretted saying half. You didn't express regret for using the term deplorables. To Mr. Carter's question, how can you unite a country if you've written off tens of millions of Americans?
Well, within hours, I said that I was sorry about the way I talked about that, because my argument is not with his supporters, it's with him.
We have a divided nation because people like her, and believe me, she has tremendous hate in her heart. And when she said deplorables, she meant it. We're going to answer our call at 3 o'clock in the morning. Guess what happened? Ambassador Stevens sent 600 requests for help. And the only one she talked to was Sidney Blumenthal, who's her friend.
Secretary Clinton, does Mr. Trump have the discipline to be a good leader?
No.
I'm shocked to hear that.
Have to move along.
9 million people
Secretary
lost
Clinton,
their jobs, 5 million homes were lost,
Secretary
and
Clinton, we're
$13
moving
trillion
on.
in family wealth was wiped out. We are back on the right track. He would send us back into recession with his tax plans.
Secretary Clinton, we are moving to an audience question. We're almost out of time. We have another. Mr. Trump, we're moving to an audience question.
It is our country
Mr. Trump,
has the
Secretary
slowest growth,
Clinton, we
and
want to get
jobs
to
are a
the
disaster.
audience. Thank you very much, both of you.
Why aren't you putting some money in? You have a lot of it. You've made a lot of it because of the fact that you've been in office. You made a lot of it while you were Secretary of State, actually. So why aren't you putting money into your own campaign? I'm just curious.
One more question from Ken Bone about energy policy. Ken?
What steps will your energy policy take to meet our energy needs while at the same time remaining environmentally friendly and minimizing job loss for fossil power plant workers?
My question to both of you is, regardless of the current rhetoric, would either of you name one positive thing that you respect in one another?
Look, I respect his children. His children are incredibly able and devoted, and I think that says a lot about Donald.
I will say this about Hillary. She doesn't quit. She doesn't give up. I respect that. I tell it like it is. She's a fighter. I disagree with much of what she's fighting for. I do disagree with her judgment in many cases. But she does fight hard, and she doesn't quit, and she doesn't give up, and I consider that to be a very good trait.
Thanks to both of you.
I want to thank both the candidates. I want to thank the university here. This concludes the town hall meeting. Our thanks to the candidates, the commission, Washington University, and to everybody who watched.
This just came out. WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks. And I said, write a couple of them down. Let's see. During a speech, crooked Hillary Clinton. Oh, she's crooked, folks. She's crooked as a $3 bill.
Our next president faces daunting challenges in a dangerous world. Iran promoting terrorism, North Korea threatening, ISIS on the rise. Hillary Clinton failed every single time as Secretary of State. Now she wants to be president. Hillary Clinton doesn't have the fortitude, strength, or stamina to lead in our world. She failed as Secretary of State. Don't let her fail us again.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Where we begin tonight. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen is here with details. Good evening, James.
Brett, good evening. The latest WikiLeaks posting of hacked emails to and from Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta lays bare what to many eyes appears to be evidence of collusion on two fronts. First, between the Clinton campaign and the woman who is now the head of the Democratic National Committee against the Sanders campaign during the Democratic primaries, and between the Clinton campaign and the Department of Justice during the Clinton email investigation.
When Bernie Sanders stepped on stage for this CNN TV1 town hall event in March, he probably didn't know that the evening before, Donna Brazile, then a CNN commentator and vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, now head of the DNC, had sent an email to the Clinton campaign captioned, "From time to time I get the questions in advance," and saying, "Here's one that worries me about HRC," flagging a question intended for Clinton on the death penalty. The question noted that since 1976,
he's executed 1,414 people in this country.
Clinton's communications director, Jen Palmieri, seemed grateful for Brazile's assistance, writing back that evening to say, yes, it is one she gets asked about. Not everyone on the campaign staff likes her answer, but can share it with you. Brazile only became interim DNC chair during the party's convention in July, after a WikiLeaks dump of DNC emails revealed pervasive collusion between Brazile's predecessor, Deborah Wasserman Schultz, and the Clinton campaign against the Sanders forces. Today, Brazile said she supported both candidates and, quote, often shared her thoughts with both. As it pertains to the CNN debates, I never had access to questions and would never have shared them with the candidates if I did, except that the event in question was not a CNN debate, but a town hall.
And all you have to do is take a look at WikiLeaks and just see what they said about Bernie Sanders. He never had a chance, and I was so surprised to see him sign on with the devil.
The Podesta emails also show Clinton campaign press secretary Brian Fallon, formerly a spokesman for the Department of Justice, getting a heads up from an unnamed DOJ official on the night of May 18, 2015. Hey, Brian, this was filed tonight. 14 minutes later, Fallon emailed Clinton confidant Cheryl Mills to relate the tip. DOJ just filed a briefing saying the government proposes releasing HRC's cache of work-related emails in January 2016. Get out, exclaimed Mills. Palmieri then looped in Podesta and Huma Abedin to set a conference call for the morning. This will be a thing tomorrow, and she is in front of the press.
From dead broke to worth hundreds of millions. So how did Hillary end up filthy rich? Pay-to-play politics. Staggering amounts of cash poured into the Clinton Foundation from criminals, dictators, countries that hate America, sold out American workers, exploited Haitians in need. She even handed over American uranium rights to the Russians. Hillary Clinton only cares about power, money, and herself.
I'm Donald Trump,
So
and
when
I
Trump
approve
says
this.
A race where you lost, fair and square, unlike the Bernie Sanders race where you won, but not fair and square, in my opinion. And all you have to do is take a look at WikiLeaks and just see what they said about Bernie Sanders and see what Deborah Wasserman Schultz had in mind. Because Bernie Sanders, between superdelegates and Deborah Wasserman Schultz, he never had a chance. And I was so surprised to see him sign on with the devil.
He's telling the truth. He is currently speaking truth to power. He knows it's true, we know it's true, and she knows it's true. So what the fuck is she smiling about? Why is that funny?
Good evening from the Thomas and Mack Center at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I'm Chris Wallace of Fox News, and I welcome you to the third and final of the 2016 presidential debates as we welcome the Democratic nominee for president, Secretary Clinton, and the Republican nominee for president, Mr. Trump.
We're going to get them out. We're going to secure the border. And once the border is secured, at a later date, we'll make a determination as to the rest. But we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
And that we can act accordingly. And that's why I'm introducing comprehensive immigration reform within the first 100 days with a path to citizenship.
Hillary Clinton wanted the wall. Hillary Clinton fought for the wall in 2006 or thereabouts. Now, she never gets anything done, so naturally the wall wasn't built.
He underpaid undocumented workers, and when they complained, he basically said what a lot of employers do. You complain, I'll get you deported.
Clear up your position on this issue, because in a speech you gave to a Brazilian bank for which you were paid $225,000, we've learned from the WikiLeaks that you said this, and I want to quote, "My dream is a hemispheric common market with open trade and open borders." So that's the question.
Russian espionage against Americans, which he actually encouraged in the past. Those are the questions we need answered. We've never had anything like this happen in any of our elections before.
That was a great pivot off the fact that she wants open borders, okay? with tremendous numbers of nuclear warheads, 1,800, by the way, where they expanded and we didn't. 1,800 nuclear warheads, and she's playing chicken.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't. And I think it's time.
She has no idea whether it's Russia, China, or anybody else.
I am not quoting
she has
myself.
No idea.
I am.
Let me tell you, Putin has outsmarted her and Obama at every single step of the way. She's been proven to be a liar on so many different ways. This is just another lie.
It is similar to the Obama stimulus plan in 2009, which has led to the slowest GDP growth since 1949.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
And we're going to enforce those agreements, and we're going to look for businesses to help us by buying American products.
I ask a simple question. She's been doing this for 30 years. Why the hell didn't you do it over the last 15, 20 years?
You deny this. Why would they all make up these stories? And since this is a question for both of you, Secretary Clinton, Mr. Trump says what your husband did and that you defended was even worse. Mr. Trump, you go first.
Well, first of all, those stories have been largely debunked. Those people, I don't know those people. I have a feeling how they came. I believe it was her campaign that did it.
Where he said that he could not possibly have done those things to those women because they were not attractive enough.
A specific question went to pay for play. Do you want to talk about that?
But there is no evidence. But there is a lot of evidence about the very good work
and it's a criminal enterprise, and so many people know it. It's a criminal enterprise. Saudi Arabia giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries went to Fisher House where they built houses for veterans and disabled.
I want to get into one last.
But of course, there's no way we can know whether any of that is true because he hasn't released his tax returns.
That you will absolutely accept the result of this election.
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit to that principle?
What I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
Well, he didn't get an Emmy for his TV program 3 years in a row, and he started tweeting that the Emmys were rigged against him.
Should have gotten it. I think it's a disgrace.
All right.
I think we've never had a situation so bad.
Hold on, folks. This doesn't do any good for anyone.
He has consistently denied what is a very clear fact that before the invasion, he supported it. He always is looking for some
Chris, we don't gain anything.
He has all these
Iran is taking over Iraq.
Secretary Clinton.
Iran is taking over Iraq. We don't gain
Secretary Clinton.
We would have gained if they did it by surprise.
Wait. Secretary Clinton, it's an open discussion.
We would have gained if they did it by surprise.
Secretary, please let Mr. Trump speak.
He's unfit, and he proves it every time
You are the one that's unfit. You know, WikiLeaks just actually came out. John Podesta said some horrible things about you, and boy, was he right. He said some beauties. And, you know, Bernie Sanders, he said you have bad judgment.
My Social Security payroll contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund. The Affordable Care Act extended the solvency of the Medicare Trust Fund. So if he repeals it, our Medicare problem gets worse. What we need to do is go after the long-term.
Secretary Clinton, Mr. Trump, I want to thank you both for participating in all three of these debates. That brings to an end this year's debate sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. We want to thank the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and its students for having us. Now the decision is up to you. While millions have already voted, Election Day, November 8th, is just 20 days away. One thing everyone here can agree on, we hope you will go vote. It is one of the honors and obligations of living in this great country. Thank you, and good night.
Well, that's it. The last debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. I have one question for you, America. Was that as good as it gets? Was that good enough for you, for your children, and for our future? Tonight's debate, like the campaigns of both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, was so much less than what we deserve. We believe in the timeless principles that make America truly special and that shaped our inspired Constitution. So do the millions of Americans who are standing with me and my running mate as we help build a new generation of American leadership that stands for courage and decency, as well as the fundamental values of equality, liberty, and opportunity for all, we invite you to join us. The tide is rising. Our movement is rapidly growing. It started small, and now we're drawing thousands. Not to hear a message of hate and division, but rather a call for unity, greatness, and American renewal.
It's time for a new generation of American leadership. This new conservative movement will lift our collective gaze and give Americans a chance to cast a vote they can be proud of. And we'll invite you to join in a cause that welcomes and values you, regardless of the color of your skin, what language you speak around your dinner table, or whether you worship in a church, a temple, a synagogue, or a mosque. Today, the polls show we can win Utah. We're surging in Idaho, in the broader Mountain West, and beyond. This is now bigger than we dreamed, and we have all of you to thank for it.
Mindy and I are asking you to join us. Stand with us in this fight. We cannot sit idly by and watch these two candidates tarnish our nation's dignity and leave us all wondering, is this the best we can do? It's time for a new generation of American leadership, and it is never too late to do the right thing.
The Indian and Hindu community will have a true friend in the White House. We will defeat radical Islamic terrorism. I look forward to working with Prime Minister Modi.
Abhi ki bar, Trump, Sarkar.
We love the Hindus. We love India.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
If you had to make a decision.
Boom, I'd blow my brains out. If you're saying Trump or Clinton, is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah.
Yeah, baloney. That's baloney. Don't ask me that question. I'm giving people their first vote.
It's getting a bit heat. I could hear some loud voice just then.
Maybe you'll get it out too.
They were asking some tough questions.
Wise. No tough questions. It's just
same questions. Is it the same questions? You get the same questions again and again and again?
Well, I'm an idiot, you know. I'm the dumbest guy that you've ever met in your whole life.
I'm trying to work out if that's sarcasm or not.
It is. I hope it's sarcasm. Here's what you answered. So obviously you're a dummy. How do you respond to your being a dummy? Well, I'm not a dummy. I'm not.
Why are you doing so badly?
I would argue just the opposite. This is phenomenal. We got $12 million. We're at 10% plus in the polls. We're leading among independents, among young people, among active military personnel. This is a celebration. I don't know where 6.1% comes from. I have no idea.
I'll tell you where it comes from. It comes from an average of all of the polls. So it takes all of the polls, it looks at the consensus.
Well, why are you here then at 6.1%? Why are you even interviewing me? I don't get it. If I'm doing so poorly, is this to preside over a funeral here? It's not a funeral, it's a celebration. Look, I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue, really.
But it's not a question of arguing.
Look, I came out for the legalization of marijuana. Let me just use that as an example. And I will tell you that I had people in my face for years and years and years talking about how stupid and how idiotic it was that we should allow marijuana to be legal.
But what's that got to do with your tax policy?
It's leadership.
11 days to the election, the FBI director informing lawmakers he is reviewing new emails related to the Clinton email investigation. Law enforcement officials tell CNN the new emails were not from Clinton, but were sent and received by aide Huma Abedin. They were found on a device shared by Abedin and her estranged husband, Anthony Weiner, who is the target of a separate investigation into alleged sexting with a minor.
Wow.
This 3 months after the FBI recommended closing the probe. In connection with an unrelated case, Comey wrote to 8 congressional committee chairmen, the FBI has learned of the existence of emails that appear pertinent to the investigation. Director Comey continued that the FBI will, quote, review these emails to determine whether they contain classified information, as well as to assess their importance to our investigation. I cannot predict how long it will take us to complete this additional work, he wrote.
It doesn't mean anything, and so it's unfortunate.
I'd be remiss if I didn't note that if she had released all the emails from the get-go, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Well, that's true, but I don't know where these emails came from.
Apparently Anthony Weiner.
Well, oh God. Oh. Anthony Weiner.
Hello, my name is William Johnson. I'm a farmer and a white nationalist. I make this call against Evan McMullin and in support of Donald Trump. Evan McMullin is an open borders amnesty supporter. Evan has 2 mommies. His mother is a lesbian married to another woman. Evan is okay with that. Indeed, Evan supports the Supreme Court ruling legalizing gay marriage. Evan is over 40 years old and is not married and doesn't even have a girlfriend. I believe Evan is a closet homosexual. Don't vote for Evan McMullin. Vote for Donald Trump. He will respect all women and be a president we can all be proud of.
She didn't just bring Iran to the table. She whittled the table from a single piece of oak. Her laugh is in the Smithsonian. Yoda was her apprentice. She's the most interesting woman in the world. I don't always endorse candidates, but when I do, they're extraordinary. Vote wisely.
Decades of lies, cover-ups, and scandal have finally caught up with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is under FBI investigation again after her emails were found on pervert Anthony Weiner's laptop. America's most sensitive secrets, unlawfully sent, received, and exposed by Hillary Clinton, her staff, and Anthony Weiner. Hillary cannot lead a nation while crippled by a criminal investigation. Hillary Clinton, unfit to serve.
I'm Donald Trump.
You have a letter in your hands from the director of the FBI in the wake of this reopening of this review of the emails regarding Hillary Clinton. Read the letter.
It's shocking news. It's from the director of the FBI to all the same Republican chairmen of the committees on the House and the Senate about the information that they've been looking at in Anthony Weiner's computer.
Right.
Okay, the headline is, we're sticking with our original assessment from July, the FBI director says.
Not criminal.
Which is that no criminal acts took place, although obviously he also said the way that Hillary Clinton and her staff handled the information was extremely careless. But the headline is, nothing new here has changed our conclusion. And I'll just read the letter.
Yeah, please do.
Dear Mr. Chairman, I write to supplement my October 28, 2016 letter that notified you the FBI would be taking additional investigative steps with respect to former Secretary of State Clinton's use of a personal email server. Since my letter, the FBI investigative team has been working around the clock to process and review a large volume of emails from a device obtained in connection with an unrelated criminal investigation. We know that to be the investigation into Anthony Weiner. During that process, we reviewed all of the communication that were to or from Hillary Clinton while she was Secretary of State. Based on our review, we have not changed our conclusions that we expressed in July with respect to Secretary Clinton, that none of the acts were criminal. I am very grateful to the professionals at the FBI for doing an extraordinary amount of high-quality work in a short period of time. Sincerely, yours,
Our
James
movement
Scott.
is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
He can win. He can win.
if he ran his entire general election campaign like you just saw that ad, I think he would have won. Now, he still can win, and he didn't run his entire campaign like that. But that's Donald Trump on message, and that's a message that resonates, and that's a message that does better than Hillary Clinton.
Week, maybe 2 weeks, because we have a friends email group where we communicate with our friends. Look, this election is over, okay? And Trump cannot win. He can't win.
And this is what our projected electoral map looks like. Remember, the magic number here is 270. We've identified 16 states in the District of Columbia that will almost certainly vote for Hillary Clinton. Those are the ones here in blue. That's worth 201 electoral votes over there. We think that there are 21 reliably Republican states in red that will most certainly vote for Donald Trump. That'll take him to 164. So Trump already at a huge disadvantage here. This election is really going to come down to the 13 states here we see in gray. Based on current polling, we expect Clinton to pick up Colorado, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. That would get her to 269 electoral votes. That's just one shy of our magic number.
Starting at the third debate with Clinton, will he even accept the results if he loses? And he still hasn't said so. I mean, that would turn this place and this country upside down if he were to actually look in a mirror, walk out on stage and say, I don't accept the results.
Yeah, we've been talking about it here for the whole week. Throw a brick through the establishment window. We don't care what happens. Then, of course, I think the shot heard across the world was Brexit. And so there was worries that this election was going to be our Brexit, maybe a trend.
So basically our score here as it stands today is 54 to 46. What this means is that in order to take control of the Senate, the Dems need to pick up 5 seats. But if they win 4, the two parties will tie, and the tie-breaking vote goes to the vice president, who also serves as president of the Senate.
Even on the plane, there had been time for one last get-out-the-vote push. The mannequin challenge, a new social media craze, being taken up by the travelling campaign team. All of them. And with a message in mind.
Whatever Hillary Clinton wins by. Now, look, if Hillary Clinton loses, then, forget it. I mean, forget everything I ever said, and let's just roll this, stuff up and check our eBay page because we'll sell a lot of this stuff.
Why they were here at the Javits Center? They pointed up. This has a literal glass ceiling, a glass ceiling they're hoping to symbolically burst through tonight with the first woman to be elected president. More symbolism here. The stage that they're working on is in the shape of the United States. The lectern where Hillary Clinton will speak is pretty much over Oklahoma, it looks to me. The campaign tells me that she has prepared remarks either way.
Well, first of all, Trump's path to victory, possible path to victory, and it's based on 3 states. He's got to hold North Carolina, which Romney won in 2012. He's got to flip Florida, which Obama won in 2012, and he's got to flip Ohio. If he doesn't put those 3 together, that's not enough for him to get to 270, but he's almost impossible for him to win unless he has those 3 states.
The highest-ranking female politician in American history. But, Madam Leader, I think you're probably hoping that that's not going to last much longer after tonight. Is that right?
I'm counting the minutes to relinquish that title. I have worn my white and purple colors of the suffragettes in honor of the fact that we have our first woman president, soon to be Hillary Clinton elected president of the United States. But the vote is sacred until the people speak.
What would Trump have to do to offset?
Right, so let's, if she lost Florida, if she lost Florida, that's 29.
If she wins Florida, what would Trump have to still win the presidency?
It's incredibly hard. Can he do it? Can he do it? Here's what Donald Trump would have to do to win. He would have to win North Carolina. If you're losing Florida, North Carolina, but he would have to win North Carolina. He would have to win Virginia. He would have to win Michigan. That gets him in the 255. This is why Donald Trump needs Florida. Then you're looking at 55.
Let's say he gets Arizona.
How does he get there from there? So then you come out here and he gets Arizona. If he gets Arizona and that would put him over the top. But if you talk to even most Republicans in Nevada, believe with early voting, that one's going to. We have it as a toss-up right now. So if he didn't get Nevada but get Arizona, can he
click on New Hampshire?
Can he get there still? Then
New Hampshire.
Get there with New Hampshire.
270.
So he can get there. The question is, if you're saying this, it's hard to believe you're going to win up here unless he has an overwhelming surge of white working class voters. Is it impossible? No. If you look at the data heading into the election, unlikely. But that's why we're going to count him.
You're really seeing that
the most powerful elements of American society arrayed entirely on her side. There's never been a coalition this powerful aligned against any candidate, I don't think, in American history. So it's all of tech, all of media, Hollywood, finance, academia, sort of everyone who makes a lot and is well educated is on one side and everyone else on the other.
Please.
I'm doing homework.
Okay, good. Keep doing your homework.
The homework's not going to matter after I win.
Shut up. Oh my God, no.
He's going to lose. He's going to lose. He's going to lose,
right.
Milo. It's okay. He's going to lose.
All
I
right,
promise.
sweetie.
Take a look
I'll
at these
talk to you
numbers
later.
here. 21% say they'll be concerned. 37% say they'll be scared. Concerned or scared, 58% of the electorate if Donald Trump wins. Hillary Clinton, the same, not a ton better. 24% concerned. 29% scared if Hillary Clinton wins the presidency tonight. 53%. They are both facing majorities who are more concerned and scared than optimistic, no matter who wins this election tonight, Jay.
A result in, I can't believe I haven't said it yet.
A result?
Hillary Clinton has won Guam.
Oh,
okay.
as Guam goes,
so goes no electoral college votes.
How does do you know the expression for Guam? It's got one of the greatest sayings for any state or territory.
What? No, I don't.
Guam, where America's day begins.
Oh, right.
Donald Trump
Yeah.
did not float down from the air. You know, Donald Trump was not sent to the Republican Party by some type of mind meld machine that George Soros developed in the basement of the Center for American Progress.
I would be careful about how much detail of that sort of thing you let out into the public, Sam.
Everybody knows that's just a gym down there. There's a couple of yoga mats.
Mr. Soros.
And a Nautilus machine.
I'm sorry, Mr. Soros.
Do they still have Nautilus machines?
We actually have some actual election results.
Yeah, from Indiana?
From 3 states, Indiana, New
That's
Hampshire, and Kentucky, all with less than 1% of precincts reporting. So they're a little meaningless.
Here comes Bernie.
But they're all bad news. Let's start with Kentucky because we don't care.
Oh, Kentucky.
73-25 Trump.
Okay, have Kentucky. Who cares?
Second
Okay.
one we don't
No,
care
we
about,
love you in Kentucky.
Indiana. Don't care. 69-28.
Well, we care for the Senate.
We care for the Senate.
Well,
69-28. New Hampshire, again.
This is important.
This is an important one. Less than 1%. I'm sorry. That one actually not less than 1%. That 1%. 1% of the precincts. 53-41, Donald Trump.
Uh-oh. Disaster.
Okay, the mood has immediately changed. Okay, I told you.
But if we're going to see a real move for Trump, it's going to have to exist in a state like Michigan. I completely agree that that's a breakout state for him. And if we see real movement there, that blue collar, vote that people like Rick Santorum and others tapped into, that's going to be the place where Trump makes a stand.
Has this been such a difficult election for Hillary Clinton?
The amount of animosity against Hillary Clinton as a person is really, it's a phenomenon that we are just not accustomed to seeing. It is unexplainable. There is backlash against Hillary Clinton from people who dislike her husband, from women.
But he was a popular president.
Well, he was a popular president, but there are, for example, in the African-American community, there is a lot of anger, for example, over Bill Clinton's crime bill that he passed, and a lot of belief that we have seen a large number of African-American men incarcerated as a result of that crime bill. Language that Hillary Clinton used in the past referring to African-American men
if we were
as
to give
super predators.
Trump all the states that Romney won 4 years ago, you go Arizona, you would go Georgia, you would go North Carolina, and then you start to put the map in the play and figure out what they need to win. It would be Iowa, it would be Ohio, and it would be Florida. And that's not easy. And even that is 259. Mm-hmm. So if you go there, Brett, you're still looking at these states up here. Is it a Pennsylvania or is it a Michigan? Is it a Wisconsin? That would get him to 269 based on the scenario here.
Let me tell you one thing, because Florida is going to be perhaps the biggest story of the night. So watch what happens if Florida ends up blue. If it does, Trump has to sweep everything here, throw in New Hampshire, and he's got to win Michigan and Pennsylvania in order to pull it off. The point is this. Florida is going to tell us everything tonight as far as the path
I can
for
assure
Donald
you
Trump.
that Donald Trump is going to get historic low numbers amongst Latinos. He's going to be probably in the teens. If he breaks 20, it's a good night for him. with Latinos, and it would be sweet, sweet justice if after everything he has said, after every attack he has made against Latinos, after he has thrown out Latino anchors from press events, after he hasn't done any outreach, after he has questioned a judge's citizenship, after he has called Mexicans rapists, it would be sweet, sweet justice if tonight it was the Latino vote that defeated Donald Trump. Así que mi gente, levántense y
I voten. mean, you know, all these people are up for a re-election right now.
Well,
and so
I know, but and we're predicating this on a huge Clinton win, right? I mean, this whole conversation is that way, and so I think it's a hypothetical that we just don't know well enough. I agree with you. I think history dictates that you were 1,000% right. I think because of Trump and because of my own self-doubt on predicting anything when it comes to Trump and post-Trump and pre-Trump and Trump himself, I've been wrong so much, and so has the Republican Party, and so has the Democrats, and so has the voters. That I think I guess I'm a little gun shy to say, you know, that it's going to go any other way. I really think that at some point they're going to reckon with